NBA STRAYA, how are you going? How you going? Are you going all right? I hope so. That was a bit of a stretch. Anyway, this is NBA STRAYA. It's Monday, December 16. I'm your host, James Clements. You can see me on the panel, the official NBL Supercoach show. You can see me on the AFL Today show, NFL STRAYA, all the good stuff. I am here in a boiling hot Larry Armour Studios. It's a bloody swimming pool in here. And that's just my nuts. Oh, God. It is brutal today. It's like 40. Anyway, should be right. Jim, can you not afford aircon? Not in the bloody studio, no. Anyway, big weekend to wrap up for you on today's show. We've got the NBA Cup final set. The NBA is also dead because of ratings, apparently, if you ask a bunch of sooking nerds. We also got 2 trades. 2! There you go. Embiid broke his face. Yeah, not great. There's also, though, probably much more devastating Sixers injury as well that happened on the weekend. And just asking, what WTF is going on with LeBron? He played today, so it's all going on. We've got weekend winners and losers. We've got all the game wraps from the weekend. We're going to fly through all that. That's not an iPhone, mate. No, mate. Spud of the night. Better than Lonzo. Bold. Dickhead of the weekend. And magic tweet of the weekend as well. There's some yeah-nahs. Some just good overarching yeah-nahs today, I'll tell you. The Unpopular Opinion of the Day, Outback Takehouse, and Andrew Gay's Grey Mum Reward, and, of course, Australian Player Watch, as per usual, and a huge set of game previews for tomorrow. Because we've got like a last little blast before the NBA Cup final on our Wednesday. That'll be fun. Pick and preview each of those. All right, let's get into it. Episode 1100 and, I believe, 76 of NBA STRAYA. Let's go!
This is Josh Giddey.
G'day, this is Andrew Gaze.
This is Jack White.
This is Joe Ingles.
This is Darcy Daniels.
This is Chris Anstey.
This is Matthew Delvedova.
This is Shane Hill.
Hi, this is Ryan Brockhoff.
This is Mitch Creek. This is Mick Kay.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA STRAYA.
And you're listening to NBA STRAYA.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening and watching NBA STRAYA.
This is NBA Australia. Let's do it.
Watch out for the shark attack.
We better watch out for the Stephen A. Smith attack if you're Kenny the Jet Smith, who got beaten by Stephen A. in a free throw shooting competition. I mean, what the hell was that, Kenny?
What was that? What the hell was that?
That is, you can't get beaten by Stephen A. That's just bragging rights forever, and that dude will never let you forget. That sucks. I also enjoy Shaq go, better not see Kendrick Perkins. I know that. There's going to be some furniture moving if I see Kendrick Perkins. Okay. Shaq and Perk having some beef, I'm all for it. It's probably one of the most weird, like, when you take, like, a little bit of a step back about, like, the talking head aspect of basketball media, you go, why Kendrick Perkins? Like, really? Why? At what point did you ever go, oh, that's a man who just knows his basketball and is ready to really share that knowledge on a broader stage? Nah, he's a moron. And like Shaq, he might be like I don't even like to know the game. Who he play for, Shaq? Hey, Chuck, count the rings. But at least Shaq is like an engaging character who won a lot of titles and is extremely famous. Perk's just some dude who's just out there getting dunked on by Kevin Durant and a bunch of million other, folks on Twitter. Anyway, good stuff. Let's get into the daily. I believe it's the way we start every show here. How do we start it? Oh, is it the daily whip around? There you go. Tell you what, had a great weekend. Got on the tins. Jeez. But also went to the throwdown Phoenix United yesterday at John Cain Arena with the Squid. Had a great time. Said good day to a bunch of folks who came up and said, hey, I know that ginger beard. I'm like, oh, g'day. But it was awesome fun. We had a bunch of tins. I had tins. The Squid obviously didn't because he's 5. That dude was, I'll tell you what though, that was a great moment. He's just sitting there double fisting popcorn and twisties at once. I'm like, what a world. What a life. That's unreal. So he had a great, and then deleted a hot dog. Just, dude was powering through it. He was also wearing his awesome Delhi throwback. That was pretty cool. But what a sick game it was as well. Phoenix with a massive turnaround. But yeah, cheers to everyone who came up and said g'day. That was very fun. Just, meeting folks out there, putting some names to face, Yeah. Faces to names. There you go. Names to faces. Faces to names. Because, over the course of many, many years now doing NBA Australia, it's like you see the sort of names pop up every so often, people commenting, getting involved, sending in your NAS, and then you actually meet a couple of them, you're like, this is great. Just sort of builds up the NBA Australia community. What else? Oh, went out on Friday night, saw Dear Seattle. God, I love that band. Playing in the Old Bar. This is a band that I think last time I saw them play the Croxton. That was really good. Anyway, sick. Hey, should we get into the actual basketball news, Jim? Yeah, probably. I'm just full-blown holiday mode too. Like, I don't know about you guys, but what is it, December 16? And she's like, pack her up, boys. We are done. I've got to go in. Like, I'll be in the studio the next 3 days. And then the office shuts down. So I'm just on cruise control. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, just stay safe. Just stay safe. Don't get fired before Christmas. Just saying. Hey, speaking of which, the NBA Cup final is set. How good were those games yesterday? So that's what I was sort of alluding to. Like the Squid and I just hanging out. The baby Squid as well. Squid number 2, causing all sorts of havoc as we're watching the early game. And then he and I watching the other game on my phone at a bunch of different times, which is really fun. But it was awesome. We have Bucks versus OKC in the final in Vegas. The vibes in Vegas left a lot to be desired. But 2 pretty good and indicative games, don't you think? So we'll get to those in the game wraps. We'll talk those a little bit more. But Bucks versus OKC, it's all happening Wednesday. That's going to be awesome. It's a pretty fun matchup too. It's like a bit of the old guard. Remember when we won a title? And everyone's like, barely actually. Sorry, Milwaukee. And OKC's like, we're the young up-and-comers who have been pretty good for like the last year and a bit. So that's going to be really, really good. Can't wait. It's a really good matchup too. We'll talk about that when we do the game previews of that game tomorrow. But, the thing is, it doesn't matter because the NBA is dead because of bad ratings or something. I love this. Apparently, the ratings are down about 28% on ESPN through November after a month. The rating for its games on TNT, basically the same, which is fine. But yeah, ESPN. I don't know, maybe just because all they do is spend time talking about the Lakers and LeBron and Bronny. And I think, I don't know. Don't you kind of feel like if you treat your audience like fucking idiots, they're going to go, actually, I'm not that interested in LeBron's shit, son. And might just go, you know what? I'm not buying into this shitty hype about a dude who's very clearly just not very fucking good. Weird. And then the tournament, the viewership for this was down 10% year on year. Considering last year was the first time they had done it. And then this year it was just like, hey, also the NBA Cup. It's Tuesdays and Fridays. And it feels like their promos for it of like, hey, it's the guy from The Sopranos and some chick. And you're like, fucking okay. I've got some thoughts. Jim, have you got some thoughts? I have plenty of thoughts. Mostly, I don't fucking care about ratings. I'll get to that in the unpopular opinion of the day. Doesn't impact me. I don't give a shit. But if you had to pinpoint your problems with the NBA product right now, I want you to let me know. Send us a DM, hit us up on the emails, just send them through. I want to see something. There's a lot of, there's too many threes. They don't play defense. Remember hand checking? It's like, yeah, there's no more post play. It's like, yeah. No, there's not. There's also a lot more threes. Yeah. So how do we fix it? And to be honest, I think the NBA just has a marketing problem more than anything, right? I think they've gone, oh shit, LeBron and Steph, this is the fucking golden goose. It's been the golden goose for about fucking what? At this point, in Steph's case, over a decade. LeBron's case, fucking 20 years, right? And so you have this moment of like, well, we'll just keep marketing them as everybody else is trying to go, hey, who is that fucking new cool guy that I love? What's the next thing? And they're just like, no, you're going to watch Lakers and Boston games and like it. It's like, what? If you ask like a casual NBA fan, who are the top 3 MVP candidates right now? They'd be like, LeBron and Steph. It's like, no. I fucking absolutely banged on about this last week, didn't I? Jokic versus Giannis. statistically is an MVP battle for the ages. Then you've got fucking Luka and SGA, and no one seems to fucking care. Why is that, Jim? Because the NBA doesn't know how to fucking market these to idiot Americans for the most part. Bash them over the head and go, this dude is insane. Keep watching this fucking dude. It's fun. Instead, it's like, here's Kevin Durant. It's like, he's fucking 36. He's always injured. Here's Joel Embiid. That motherfucker, everybody hates him because he's flopping all the time and he's shit and has never won anything and never gotten out of the fucking second round. We don't care. And then it's like, we don't know how to market Jokic or Luka. It's like, dude, it's America. They're white. You're already on a fucking, you're on a winning path when it comes to the US of A fucking these days. I'll tell you what. And then you got SGA, charmingly awesome guard who is an absolute weapon and doesn't really need to take too much to basically hype up his fucking game. It's sick. Anthony Edwards, same sort of vibe. Then you got the New York Knickerbockers, this collectively awesome team sometimes. And you have these stars and they just aren't fucking marketing properly. Like, it's fucking insane to me. Like, Ja Morant, electric when he puts the guns down. Zion, too big, always keeps getting injured. But you've got all these dudes like Kawhi Leonard being just such a fucking weirdo. It's such a disservice to the NBA over the years that it's really put like this strange fucking miasma over like superstardom, I guess. Where it's like, I want to be healthy for the playoffs. It's like, what happens when you get there? Not much, because I then get injured anyway. You know? And it's sort of like, because Kawhi won another title with the Raptors, it sort of excuses all this behavior. And people do complain, there's too many threes, there's too much load management. It's like, load management is barely a fucking thing if you actually got a brain in your head. Right? Seriously. The way they go about it now, like, yes, Embiid's a moron for going, I don't think I'll play like back-to-backs ever again. It's like, just, what? Don't say that out loud, you dummy. And then you've got really engaging, charming superstars who really just enjoy selling the game back to Australia, like Ben Simmons. You know? So it's on a bit of a hiding to nothing. But to be honest, most of it's just fucking about marketing for me. And pushing that next generation and going, you need to see what they do because they are fucking awesome. Like, LeBron was incredible. Steph's incredible. KD's incredible. These are like three of the top, 15, 16 dudes of all fucking time. But then you've got Nikola Jokic. You've got Giannis. You've got Luka. Giannis is fun. He's a bit weird. He's also Greek. Jokic, bit funny, bit weird. He's also Serbian. Luka, absolute fucking complainer, bitcher, moaner, but hilariously Eastern European as well, right? It should be like shooting fish in a barrel because you've got all these other Americans, like, all Jason Tatum wants to be is like beloved. And he also is a void of personality, but still, that's never stopped anyone before, Clyde Drexler. I'll tell you what, Scottie Pippen, what a weirdo. Ant-Man, you've got, SGA's Canadian, but still, like, you've got a raft of really, really awesome American stars, as you saw with Team USA. They've just completely fucking botched the handover. Anyway, I've got some thoughts about all that. I'll talk about them more later. We had two trades. Dennis Schroeder, I am Drummond Rondo, has been traded from Brooklyn to the Golden State Warriors for 3 second-rounders and DeAnthony Melton. Finally, we get the team up again of DeAnthony Melton and Shake Milton. Milton and Melton, even though Melton's out for the year with his ACL tear. So that is 3 second-rounders. They give up a second-rounder from Miami to the Nets in the deal, but they get 26 and 28 from the Hawks and a 29 from the Warriors. This is ring-a-ding-ding-ding-ding-ding, the tank. Oh, yes. Let's go, Brooklyn. It's about time. You've waited too long, I'd say. But I like that it basically hit December 15. They're like, fuck it, we're trading everybody. Apparently, they were kicking the tires on Cam Johnson, but there was no way to make that happen without Cumdog millionaire Johnny Cumbucket, Johnny Kuminga being able to be sent back. And Thomas Not Kobe Bryant is also off as well, which is, it never worked for him, did it? Like, ever, anywhere, apart from like a little moment. He had like a little bit of a moment. He was on the Lakers for a bit, then he was on the Wizards, back on the Lakers, on the Nuggets. He's on the Heat now, he's been traded to the Pacers. So it's like basically as the package was, we can swap seconds. And you're like, it's not great. Anyway, so those are the two trades. Thomas Bryant might help the Pacers. They have like an absolute dearth of size on that roster, so that's probably pretty good. Same time, Miami's in the exact same boat, but they've also got, rookie Khalil Ware and obviously Bam Adebayo. Pelicans are obviously making it known that they are open for business. Apparently, they're happy to trade anybody except for Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, and Yves Missy. So pack your bag. I hope you're renting CJ McCollum and DeJounte Murray. Don't know about Zion, but yeah, anyway. What are you going to trade for Zion? A couple of beignets and a pot of gumbo at this point. And Brandon Spindles Ingram, everybody hates that dude anyway. Joel Embiid broke his face. So 2 Sixers things. Embiid broke his face. It's like a orbital fracture, or sinus fracture. So basically broke his nose, from, what was it, Benny Mathurin, wasn't it? When he went up for a rebound and quapang. The weird thing is, I think this is like the 3rd time he's had like a face fracture, which is just, stop putting your face where it gets smashed, you idiot. What are you doing? That's just... Come on, you don't use your head like that, Embiid. Use your head, but not like that. But obviously the really big devastating Sixers injury is the Jared McCain. That's right, the TikTok superstar. Great hair, better dance moves. He had left knee soreness after the game against Indy, and then an MRI. There was a lateral meniscus tear, so he's going to go get surgery. He's out indefinitely. So one of those weird ones where meniscus tears and the surgery, etc., you just have to wait on what the timetable is because they obviously, are there different grades of them, Jim? Yes, there's different grades of them. But anyway, that really sucks because he was awesome. And I think between he and Stephon Castle, we had a really, really awesome Rookie of the Year battle brewing. But I love me some Stephon Castle, just saying there. That stinks because Jared McCain next to Tyrese Maxey just made the Sixers barely watchable because outside of those two, fuck me, it is a punish watching Joel Embiid flop everywhere like a fucking 7'2" giant idiotic ragdoll while injured. Oh, geez, my knee's sore. Flop, you fucking flog. And Paul George, the least, what is he? The Michael Jordan of Tobias Harris's, which I'm going to talk about in a second as well. And there you go. And speaking of which, last little bit of news, LeBron James returned to the Lakers today. So he had that personal reasons absence, which, went on for a little bit. And everyone's like, oh, watch out. They've got him. FBI. Did he? Did he or not? Or didn't he? I don't know. He might have also just been taking a quick weekend off. There was like reports of a foot injury. But he came back, went through a walkthrough, and actually played in today's game for the Lakers, which, now, I did start taping this because they were smashing them. They're up by 15 with only, last bit of the fourth quarter to go. I've got a few. They pulled it back to 8, but yeah, they're still going to win it. So good job by the Lakers. All right, let's do some really quick game wraps and get into some weekend winners and losers and keep on moving. I'll tell you what. Let's do it. Game wraps. Game wraps. Hey, remember the other day? Which other day? Jim, Saturday. Yeah, it was a bit of a hungover mess. I was out really late. It's like there's 3 different bars. So I was at the old bar, but I went to a bar before then with a mate of mine. It was great, just hanging out. It was a beautiful night for it, and sort of just kept bar hopping. It was great. Sitting down in one of the bars on Johnson Street. It's like Sugar Glider or Bad Decisions, whatever. They're all the same. Not all the same. They're all very different. They're all very good. They're playing Hot Heat is the bloody DJ. I'm like, this is great. But anyway, yeah, woke up, but just lay here and watch some basketball. So I did. Cleveland smashed the Wizards 115-105 because, of course, they did. The Pacers beat the Sixers, as I mentioned, right? So Halliburton found a little bit of form here, which is pretty bloody good. But obviously Embiid goes out with his face broken. Maxey rips off 22. Paul George does absolutely sweet dick all, which is the classic. And here we are. Sixers 7-16 in struggle town. The Lakers lost to the Wolves 97-87. AD, not bad, but outplayed. The Grizzlies schmuckerated the Brooklyn Nets 135-119. Ja Morant went off for 28-7-10. Crushed it. The Bulls ran over the top of the Hornets 109-95. Giddy up. He had 17-9-7. Love that. The Nuggets smashed their bunny. The Clippers 120-98. Jam and Jamal Murray took it, and then I took that personally. He had 20 and 4 steals. The Suns beat the Jazz 134-126. They needed every little bit of that. But the best thing for the Suns is that Kevin Durant came back. So I think I mentioned this on the Friday show. It's like, yeah, once he comes back, they're fine. But if he's not playing, they're still rooted. And that is still very, very, very true. Because they won both their games with KD back after basically not being able to win without him. So, yeah, I feel like he might be the real MVP. So, yes. Anyway, good times, great memories, good win by the Suns over the Yaz. But, I mean, it's the Yaz. What are we doing here, you know? So what's their actual record at the moment, I believe? He was really struggling with his shot today, but he at least came back and they're smashing it. So their record with Kevin Durant is pretty bloody good. They're still 1-9 without him. That is just gross. 12-2 with him back. Might be 13-2 now too. Good stuff. Anyway, and then the Spurs came back and beat the Blazers 118-116 in a massive fourth quarter comeback. Wembanyama had 28, 7-7. And then the two big games, NBA Cup on Sunday. Sunday, the NBA Cup, all right. How good were those two games? You had Bucks, Hawks. Bucks win it in an absolute arm wrestle down the stretch. Comes down to basically them having to just get some defensive stops. And you know what they did? They got some defensive stops. It was pretty crazy to watch. And I'll tell you what, it was really, really fun. So they ended up winning it. What was the final score? 110-108. So the Hawks didn't cover, which is breaking your heart, because Jalen Johnson wasn't able to sort of like get over the hump. He had a bit of a rough shooting night. But Trae Young was absolutely on fire. He had 35, 7, and 10. But Giannis rips off the 32, 14, and 9. Absolute chaos gear. Yeah. Jalen Johnson was 15 points on 15 shots. You had the 25 as well from Dame with 7 assists. Hit a couple of big ones late. And you're just like, oh, it's Dame time. Yes, it is. But really, for me, it's like the Giannis block at the end of the fourth quarter. Well, at 2 minutes left or something. Absolute chaos. But it was like a 3-point game with 2 minutes to go. Lopez scores. Jalen Johnson misses. You have just basically a bunch of misses from then on. And it was pretty brutal watching Trae just clank all these things. But each time he sort of shot it, you're like, I think that might go in. Oh, it didn't go in. Like all these times. It was pretty crazy. But Giannis was absolutely everywhere. And like the block that he had on was a Clint Capella, was just absolutely immense. Then Dyson Daniels, that's right, the Bendigo Bandit himself, the Great Barrier Thief, goes out and blocks that Middleton shot as well. Very nice, came right down to the wire. And basically, like it just felt like every time the Hawks would get their nose in front, it was like 86-85. And then they sort of just, the Bucks just got up. They got it back to 91-94, 91-90, then 94-90 after Andre Jackson hits that big three with half the quarter left. Jalen Johnson gets going a little bit, but it just wasn't quite enough. And Trae Young just sort of running out of steam a little bit down the stretch is understandable because he'd been so good the rest of the game. But that's just that sort of thing where you look at it and go, ooh, yeah, right. So they are just a little bit off the pace. And they weren't able to get the sort of defensive gear going. Like Dyson Daniels still ruined a lot of what Dame was trying to do. Dame went 8 of 21. Still shot 5 of 14 from downtown, but that's not that great, you know what I'm saying? So they shut most of it down. They just sort of didn't quite have that extra gear of scoring punch to get out. Like especially Jalen Johnson struggling with these 6 of 15 and 0 of 4 from deep. They just didn't quite have it. And the Bucks just rolled them in the end in a very, very impressive display, despite having some absolute spuds on their team. Torian the Red Bull Prince, 2 of 8. Yeah, the 2 of 7 from Chris Middleton. He had 6 points, 4 assists, 3 turnovers. Brutal. 0 of 5 for Gary Terrence Trent D'Arby Jr. And they still won. That's a great win by the Bucks. 110-102. You'd love to see it. They go through to take on OKC, who beat the Houston Rockets 111-96. This was probably a little bit more impressive for the simple fact that OKC took like Houston's best shot and went, that's cute. What else you got? And Houston are like, nothing. because, yeah, their big dudes just really struggled. So between Şengün, Dylan Brooks, Fred VanVleet, the Fight VanVleets, and Jalen Green, yeah, that's how it goes. That's the official line, I think. Green was 5 of 14, Fred VanVleet 3 of 15, Şengün, old Alpy, 6 of 16 and 5 of 17 for Dylan Brooks. And Jabari Smith as well, he's 3 of 8. So your starters all had absolutely shocking shooting nights because the Thunder's defense is flippin' late. Because even Jalen Williams was like sort of, his shot wasn't going in. He still had 25 and 5, 32 for SGA with 8 rebounds, 6 assists and 5 steals because he's taking the piss. Dort was unreal. He hit 5 threes. He had 19. And the big one for me was Isaiah Hartenstein. Hello. Just having that extra size going up against someone like Houston to go, hey, can you just like make sure that Şengün doesn't dominate this game? And Hartenstein's like, oh yeah, I can do that. And really, really, really took it to him. 13, 11, and 4 turnovers for Alpy. Whereas Hartenstein outplayed him. 21-8, 4 turnovers himself, but a block and 2 assists. Shot 9 of 12. Pretty bloody good. So despite taking 16 fewer threes, OKC, than Houston, they made the same amount as the Rockets. So, yeah, that's pretty handy. 12 turnovers to 16. They just really, they worked them like a speed bag. And, of course, when Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks, Alpy Şengün, and Jalen Green are combining to have such a bad shooting night where I think, was it of 62 shots I think they took, they hit, I want to say 19. And I'm no math magician, but that's bloody shit. So, yeah, the Rockets, look, they came up against it. It's like, this is where Jalen Green's lack of a mid-range game and Şengün's inability to, like, dictate terms against even someone like Isaiah Hartenstein really come back to bite them in the ass. Where if Fred VanVleet isn't just, like, bombing it from the fucking car park, they've got no other sort of, like, oh, please save us, Dylan Brooks. And it's like, well, maybe our defense will help. Their defense is the only fucking thing that kept them in this game until OKC just went, all right, we're stopping fucking around. And then just pedaled the metal and ran away with that fourth quarter. So, especially in the second half, they put 70 on them in the second half and just kicked their ass. OKC are fucking legit. Those are 2 very, very good games. How good's the NBA Cup? Tell you what, wasn't that great. It was that fucking crowd. Oh, God. And then today's games, Indy smashed New Orleans 119-104 because, the Pelicans are bad. Okay. Boston 112 smashed Washington 98. Wasn't even that close. The Knickerbockers beat the Magic Men because they put an absolute number on Jalen Suggs and they had very few other answers. 100-91. The Wolves ran over the top of the Spurs, 106-92. Ant-Man was having a good old time. Phoenix outlasted Portland 116-109 as well. Portland made a bit of a concerted effort late, but geez. And then the banner game, a record for most made threes in a game between the Dallas Mavericks and the Golden State Warriors. 143-133. The Warriors made 27 threes and lost. That's the most made threes in a loss in NBA history. So, yeah, not great. Luka rips off a massive, massive game, 45-point triple-double. They shot 52 of 87, did the Mavericks. That's ridiculous. 21 of 41 on downtown shots. Klay Thompson got a bit of revenge back in Golden State. Yeah, 29, but wow, what a game that was. This is what's wrong with the NBA. Still a very fun game, that one, despite the lack of defense. And this is it. The Warriors, they're now 14-11. It's getting a bit wonky. Can't wait to do the power rankings later this week. And then finally, the Lakers. The Lakers, they beat the Grizzlies 116-110 because Ja Morant had an absolute Barry Crocker shocker. He ends up shooting 6 of 21, but it was a lot worse for a lot of this game. And 6 of 21 is already pretty fucking bad. So ends up with a 20.7 rebounds, 6 assist game, but with 7 turnovers. So not great. Triple J had 25 and 5, but Desmond Bane continued his really shitty season. 7 points. He's a weird one, Desmond Bane, because it feels like he's not gotten into any. He had like a nice little run the last few weeks, like the last week and a bit, where it was like getting much more efficient. They were looking much better. They had that Boston game where they copped Boston on a back-to-back. He looked all right. A big win over Brooklyn on the weekend as well. He was like crushing it, but this is against a team that's basically going, we're packing up, boys. And then this one, you're like, they really needed a good Bane. Didn't get it. Good win for the Lakers. Let's do an NBA Australia approve. No, do winners and losers. That's what we'll do. weekend winners and losers.
Oh my God. I won! I won! Ah! Recapping our day's top story, the winner of today's state lottery is
me, Ken Brockman. There you go.
Can we get a shot of me?
There you go. All right.
There you go.
There you go. Another news. Terrible mix-up. Plenty of people killed. It's all right. Weekend winners, obviously the Bucks and the Thunder. Why is that, Jim? Well, it feels like the Bucks being good, at least at this point, God, it just sort of pops a little spice into that Eastern Conference, doesn't it? Where like the Cavs look incredible, Boston look imperious, and they like the Sixers have just completely fucking fallen off a cliff. The Knicks are trying to figure all this stuff out, right? If the Bucks are okay though, that makes the East way more interesting. And I'm very happy that they sort of figured this out. But the defense has been pretty good. Dame and Giannis still seem pretty janky together, but you know, it's sort of smoothing out, which is nice. And the Thunder, they're just like proving just how fucking good they are on the big stage. Is exactly what we need from our young teams. We want to bang on about ratings. Cool. Let's showcase fucking Dame and Giannis. Let's showcase SGA and Jalen Dub. Like, they're fun. The Thunder should be, like, if they were in a bigger market, that would be the most fucking fun thing in sports. But because they're in shitty little fucking Oklahoma City, all slights intended, it's a fucking podunk bullshit town. They stole my beloved Supersonics. Just saying. This is what you fucking get. No one cares about you because you're in a little shitty fucking podunk bullshit town. But they should be beloved because they're fucking awesome. And that's really good. A good weekend for them. Good weekend for Boston. They just got, these ones out here just cruising and smashing. So good weekend for them. Just a couple of nice settling wins after the loss to Memphis last week in gear. Indy, 2 big wins over the weekend to get them back on track as well. They desperately needed that, didn't they? The old Pacers. And Halliburton, getting in a little bit of a groove. The Grizzlies, they were on this list for a bit, and then they just completely no-showed that Lakers game, which is a bit of a weird one. So I had this like flipped with the Lakers because boy, did that Lakers team need that win. They're now back up to 14-12. Having lost to the Wolves the other day in dispiriting fashion, I fully expected them to lay an egg against this Grizzlies team. But then I remembered that the Grizzlies were out in LA for a Sunday game. So yeah, Saturday night in LA, Sunday game. We should have known better. God damn it. Anyway, good job by the Lakers. They get LeBron back. They get a win. Outside of this, the Spurs, good weekend for them as well. They're sort of cruising along. Happy days if you're San Antonio. It's like Stephon Castle causing all sorts of havoc. They're back. I mean, they had the sort of crummy loss to Minnesota today, but like they're hitting this base level of competency that I find very encouraging. And they'll have games like today's, sort of no-show against the Wolves, and you go, yep, that checks out, but they're okay. Outside of that, I mean, the Heat didn't even play over the weekend. So, what else? The Thunder have now won 5 on the trot. That's good. The Nuggets got their big win the other day against the Clippers. Happy days for them. Probably the Suns deserve to be on here as well. 2 big wins with KD back. They're sort of cruising. So there's some weekend winners and losers. But really also, how about the teams that have played like once or twice in like the last 10 days? Like, that's pretty good. You're getting like 4 to 5 days off in between a couple of these games as well. If you're Boston or Miami or Detroit or Brooklyn or whatever, it's pretty good. I don't mind it. How about some losers though?
We're not losers. No, you two are winners. Big winners. When I grow up, I want to marry a big winner like you guys. Shut up.
Losers.
Loser.
Losers.
Losers.
All right, Philly. McCain was like your one good story. Embiid getting hit in the face again and breaking it sucks, but losing McCain sucks way more. And Paul George just fucking sucks. So, yeah, tough weekend for Philly, I'll tell you that much. Like, Philly fans are now just waiting for the boot to, like, drop at any other point. You're like, come on, man. Yeah, it's pretty tough. Tough weekend for the Clippers. They just couldn't get past the Nuggets again. And the Rockets in Atlanta. So the 2 NBA Cup semi-finalists who lost. It just sort of showed both teams like limitations in like on a very big stage, right? And you can just point to what the obvious limitations were. the Rockets' lack of a go-to scorer because Jalen Green, the lack of the mid-range game and like the alternative mode of scoring for him just doesn't fucking exist. And you're like, that's probably a problem. And Şengün, same sort of thing. And then for Atlanta, you're like, it's just a lot of Trae Young, isn't it? If Jalen Johnson, who is still very, very, very young and very, very raw, if he's not having that good game, you're actually a bit fucked. So, yeah, a bit of a rough one for both. Outside of that, Portland, that was a rough one today. But mostly, like, yes, cool, you're tanking. I get it. But the Scoot Henderson conversation has to happen at some point, and it's a tough one. I reckon we might have to ask PDXP to give us his thoughts on Scoot Henderson. Before we engage in too much more slander, today he had 19 minutes, went 0 of 4 from the floor. He has had a rough one. So tough weekend for him. 4 points, 5 assists, 2 and 9 shooting against the Spurs the other day. 2 points, 4 assists, 4 fouls today, and 0 of 4 shooting. So, yeah. And Portland are bad. So, it's a bit of a rough one. And then finally, the NBA. Why are ratings down? Why were there no fans in Vegas? It's because of this navel-gazing inability to get around their own road with innovations and shit. And sort of like, they're trying to be everything to everybody. And I think that's fucking hard. You know? So NBA Australia isn't everything to everybody. NBA Australia is a very sort of specific, hey, I want to listen to Jim talk about basketball and a bunch of other shit. It's like, yes, okay, cool. Then fucking this is the show for you. Outside of that, like I'm not sitting here going, fuck, you know what I'm going to really fucking talk about? New Jersey drones. You know what it is? It's a psyops. They're trying to find nukes. I love it. Let's go. Oh, Sydney Sweeney's photos, man. Yeah. Nah, don't fucking care. The NBA, just fucking figure it out. Market your dudes. Showcase your dudes better. It's not rocket surgery sometimes. All right, how about an NBA Australia approved performance of the weekend?
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
Giannis Antetokounmpo. That lob that he blocked was absolutely sick. Kept them up 5 with 2 minutes left, but finishes the game 32, 14, and 9 with 1 steal and 4 blocks and a single turnover. Also, it's just one of those classic, in big games, he hit 12 of 18 at the free throw line, which for Giannis is, sure, you'll take that. 10 of 15 from the floor, though. He was absolutely inexorable in that game. He and SGA, actually, in the game after. But then how about Luka today? 45, 11, and 13 with 3 steals and 2 blocks. I probably should have banged on more about the Mavs in the weekend winners and losers, but because I think they only played the one game because of the, over the weekend because they lost in the NBA Cup, so they were already in Vegas when they lost their... Wait, no. Which one did they lose? They lost... Yeah, they lost to the Thunder in the quarter. Yeah, that sounds about right. I'm just making stuff up now. Yeah. That's right, they did in the quarters. So, and then they basically went on and played the Warriors today, who also lost, and they just looked awesome. And you're like, yeah, when this offense is singing like that, that's great. They still gave up 133 points, but Luka was absolutely incredible. That's a great bloody game. 45, 11, and 13 with 3 steals and 2 blocks. Michael Jordan is apparently the only other player to achieve that or better. It's because Michael Jordan was the GOAT. I'll tell you what. Not bad. How about a bit of a spud of the night? Spud, 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 spud. It is spud of the night. Oh, we had some spuds. Yes, we did over the last weekend. I'll tell you, I've already rattled off like those Houston star stat lines, but geez. What do we have? The 3-15 for Fred VanVleet and the 5 of 17 for Dylan Brooks is probably the most egregious because they're the veteran leaders, and you can't really, for 8 of 32 shooting for that amount of money is a bit absurd. Matatis Buzales go 1 of 11. Naz Reid went 1 of 10, 1 of 8 for Dean Wade. Stephon Castle 3 of 13 for Micic. 4 of 19 today for Suggs. He was absolutely brutal. DeAndre Hanna went 5 of 16 as well as that rough outing for Jalen Johnson as well the other day too. But I'll tell you what, as I mentioned, the Bucks had the Torian with the Red Bull Prince go 2 of 8, Middleton go 2 of 7, Gary Terrence Trent D'Arby Jr. go for 0 of 5. So pretty bloody good that they came out and won it. My favourite, though, is the comparison about Paul George as a sixer. So far this year, 16, 5 and 5, 1.8 steals a game, 2.7 turnovers with a 52.5% true shooting percentage. Tobias Harris' season last year was 17, 6.5 and 3 with a steal, 1.3 turnovers on 57.6 true shooting percentage. So maybe Tobias Harris is the Michael Jordan of Paul George's, as opposed to Paul George being the Michael Jordan of Tobias Harris's. Because at the moment, Paul George is being shitter than Tobias Harris, which is fucking absurd and pretty amazing. But I would very much like to thank one Aussie, as well as Jordan Poole, for going out and doing, oh yes, you know what they did. Woo! Shield! Yeah, they both went and shot 311, you little ripper. Love that. Absolutely love that. Lucas shot 16 and 23 today, 6 of 11 from downtown. That is absolutely only 3 turnovers on his 13 assists. Bloody good. Right, anyway, let's do a bit of an old mate, no mates.
Old mate, no mate.
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 Jordan Poole, so breaks Pritchard's ankles, sends him flying and points at him. But Jordan Poole is such a moron that allows Sam Hauser to recover and contest the shot, and Jordan Poole has to pass the ball off anyway, and they miss the throw, and just absolutely being dunked on by everybody. Jordan Poole, the dumbest. To be honest, you should just punch him in the face just for that if you're his teammate, you know what I'm saying? Pantsing of the night. That would be Giannis's game-saving-ish block, of that awesome oop that he threw up there. The way that he blocked it was just so absurd, and it was awesome. And Clint Capello was like, "What? How did that not go in?" With his big Swiss accent. Finally, better than Lonzo Ball.
Lonzo was the best player in high school. He was the best player in college. You think he'll get to the pros and be like, I made it to the pros, now I can be average. We're coming for everybody.
Coming for everybody. That's right. Mo Wagner and his big stupid pumpkin head. He was bloody good today. 32 points, 4 of 7 from deep, 10 of 15 from the floor in total. 6 rebounds, 1 assist and 3 turnovers up against the Knickerbockers. He was great. It's like there's always one dude on this Magic team that just goes off now. But without Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner, it was Mo Wagner's turn. So that was pretty good. Not bad. Good size Mo. Better than Lonzo, who is actually now back as well. And sort of cruising along every so often. It's just that. If OKC, if that team was in Chicago, you can't tell me that would not be one of the hypiest of hype teams in the entire NBA to this terrifying degree. You see everybody frothing over the Knicks. That's what they should be doing for OKC, but because they're in the Thunder, they're just kind of crummy. But yeah, Lonzo did have a 10, 7, and 4 against the Hornets the other day. So not bad. Tell you what, they're both better than Bronny James. All right, what about Magic Tweet of the Weekend? We had a couple of crackers too. I was at Erewhon this morning and picked up their new smoothie honoring Laker D'Angelo Russell. He's just a picture of him in his tracksuit with his smoothie. I love that. Good on him. But what about this one? I very much enjoyed this because he's, tell you what, he's not wrong. My Commanders have 4 games left to put ourselves in the playoffs, so this game today against the Saints is crucial. Commanders fans, we escaped with a win and kept our playoff hopes alive. Although we won, we can't have our QB Jaden Daniels sacked 8 times. No shit, Magic, but thank you. Oh, but my absolute favourite. Cookie and I had an amazing date last night at Crypto Arena seeing the legend Stevie Wonder. We've seen him countless times. He never fails to disappoint and keeps us singing along to all his songs. Thanks, Magic. Does it sound like you copped the root? All right. Dickhead of the weekend. Dickhead of the week. Just watching Draymond today against the Mavs is just full-blown dickheadedness. I loved it. Because he's yapping and yapping. He had a really, really good game as well. And that makes it way worse. because you're like, oh, he's having his best game like ever. And now he's talking some shit. So he had 20 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, 0 turnovers, shot 9 of... Oh, wait, no, there's Kuminga. I thought that was a bit weird. He was off the bench. He had 21. That's right, 21, 7, and 4. I had them written next to each other. 21, 7, and 4, hit 5 threes, absolutely crushed it, 6 of 14 shooting. He was bloody good. But Luka was like telling somebody to shut up. And Draymond was like, hey, you talking to me? He's like, no. But also, you shut up. It's good. It's some good stuff, Luka. All right, let's do some YNRs right after this.
This is Cam Glidden.
This is Anthony Drimmick.
This is Mitch McCarron.
This is Jason Kadee.
This is Daryl McDonald.
Hey guys, this is Hugh Greenwood.
Yo, what's going on? This is Illy.
This is Mark Worthington, or commonly known as Wortho, and you're listening to NBA Australia.
You listen to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA
And you're listening
Australia.
to NBA Australia.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
All right, let's do it. A couple of YNRs. Des Dennis, should I am German Rondo on his 8th team in 8 years. Does he help the Warriors? Yeah, nah. Yeah. Because I'll tell you what, old mate no mates was almost Brandon Podemski. Because wow, do Warriors fans hate that dude all of a sudden. It's pretty funny. But it just gives them like another sort of escape valve, and the way that Steve Kerr just sort of looks at it and goes, all right, I can put him next to Steph. I don't have to start Buddy Hield. I can have Gary Payton II come off the bench. We don't have to use Pods maybe as much, or Lindy Waters at least. And it just sort of makes their depth just that little bit better. The problem is, like, Danny Schroeder, I am German Rondo, just wears out his welcome sort of no matter where he goes. 8 teams in 8 years, Barbara. But I still don't know if he sort of fixes what ails him. But it is a little bit of extra shot creation, which is kind of like one of their big failings. So I think he does help them a little bit. But they're 14 and 11. Like, they actually kind of really need a shot in the arm. So he should give them a shot in the arm. I just don't think he pushes them over the top in any way, shape, or form. So what they really need is Johnny Cumbucket just to take that little bit more of a leap and just turn into their version of J-Dub, right? Jalen Williams. Yeah. Next one. Does this mean Brooklyn is firmly in the tank? Yeah, nah. Yes. Oh, yes. They will be trying their hardest to trade Cam Johnson, Ben Simmons. Everything that's not nailed down, basically not named Nick Claxton would be my guess. Even Cam Thomas. Like, as I mentioned, though, that was like him getting injured at the time he did was the worst possible timing. But if he can come back in like the next couple of weeks and really let it rip, he might have a new home before the trade deadline is over. The weird thing for me is the Nets that Sean Marks always sort of seems to cash in all these things that he's got just for a little bit of a shit return. Kind of, oh, bro, nah, 3 second rounders sounds pretty good, eh? It's like, dude, what? Okay. Did you ask anybody else, Sean? And he's like, oh, no, bro, they were the first ones to call. I thought that'd be nice if I just did the deal with them, eh? Anyway. Lastly, are Philly just fucked this year? Yeah, nah, yeah. So they own their pick if it falls 1 to 6 this year. Otherwise, they give it to OKC. I'm just saying. Maybe just fucking pack her up. Tank, boys, tank. But look, I think this was probably the most frustrating aspect. If you're a Sixers fan, you're like, Jim kept sort of pointing out that if we just get our dudes back, we've still got a bit of a shot in the East. It's like, you do. You're 7 and 16, but that leaves plenty of, like, 7 and 16, you're 1 loss behind the 8 seed, which is Indy, right? Indy at 12 and 15, you're 7 and 16. So you just need a little bit of a run, a little bit of health, and you would have been fine. Nah, boom. Shit the bed, another injury. Jared McCain, there goes a bit of your scoring punch. But look, Maxey, Paul George, if Embiid comes back, even with a face mask, like, they should be okay, but I'd just go fuck it. Trade Embiid. Right, let's do a little bit. I don't want to bang on about the ratings because there's a great tweet. It's like, I just don't fucking care about ratings, and that's kind of my unpopular opinion of the day.
Now look at me, please. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me.
I find the rating stuff just an absolute punish. Like, I don't care about the ratings because I am still watching the games. And if you're listening to the show, you're probably watching the game sometimes as well. Or if you're watching or listening to the show, you know. It's like, people are like, oh, people stream it illegally, so it doesn't count. It's like, okay, yeah, that's definitely a thing that happens. League Pass is obviously a massive thing. They've made it an easily accessible product that I guess the broadcasters themselves are going to be like, all right, so we're getting these marquee games, but people can sort of still watch it without us getting the... interesting. I think the thing is, and we'll just go into Outback Takehouse with this as well, because it's Monday at Outback, and you know what that means? Oh yeah, the Squids and I on the way to bloody school and daycare this morning. We just managed to run straight over the top of a scared little possum. It was hot, and boom, we didn't see him. Just ran him over him in the pram, chucked him in the pram, brought it home. Spit roast possum, only at Outback. It's bloody delicious. Bit gamey, bit flattened, but that just makes it all the better. And it's only at Outback. And today's Flame Grill take is, seriously, the ratings going down is good for the NBA. It means they have to work harder to make the product better. And if the salary cap goes down, who fucking cares? Do you get paid any less? Do I get paid any less? No. There's not much of a fucking difference if your top earning player is paid $50 million a year or 60. But you know what? If it's 50 and we pay more attention during the fucking season, that's great. That's generational wealth that none of us will fucking ever see. Kevin. But there's also no fucking rule that says the salary and the earnings potential of a league has to go up year on year outside of the existing deal you've got, which is already locked in for a big fucking number over the next half a fucking decade at the very least. You're fine. So the sooking and bitching and moaning, oh, there's too many threes. Who fucking cares? But you know what? If this scares the NBA, good. That means they'll actually try to do something about it. Only at Outback. And I do think there are things that they can do. I still love the idea of widening the court a little bit so the three-point line goes all the way around, or just cutting off the three-point line wherever it sort of gets shorter. What is it, above the break? And maybe that works. Capping the amount of threes. It's a pretty fun one. See what happens. Anyway. But the NBA Cup, like half-assing that this year is like one of those problems. Like you had a great idea and you half-assed it. I fucking hate it when people half-ass ideas. All right, let's take a quick break. Be back with Australian Player Watch right after. Let's hear from Hammer.
This is Shane Heel, and you're listening to NBA Australia.
Oh, there we go. It's time for the NBA Australian Player Watch for Monday, December 16. How did the Aussies go on the weekend? Oh, not great, to be honest. There's a couple of rough ones. We had Ben Simmons, Box Hill Benny, and that loss to Memphis that the Nets copped. He played 21 minutes. He went 1 of 3 from the floor. 8 assists, though. Not bad. 4 rebounds, a block, and 2 turnovers. The 1 of 3 shooting, it still concerns you, right? It's like in 21 minutes, in a game they got smashed by Memphis, 135-119. You expect a few more opportunities for Box Hill Benny out there, but you're watching that one going, look, I want to see him try a bit harder. Stop trying to be cool, Ben. Let's go. Anyway, all we need to see from Ben Simmons from this point on, halfway through December, the health should be getting right there, and then we should be building into January, building into February, and then if the Nets trade him, then we all say, best of luck, Benny, right? Josh Giddey, giddy up in that win over Charlotte. He was really, really good. 109-95 win. He had 17 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists. Had 4 steals as well. He had 5 turnovers, but what happens? You get that on the big jobs, don't you? He was a plus 15. 7 of 13 shooting, 3 of 8 from 3. When the threes are dropping for Josh Giddey, it is kissing fingers emoji. Josh Green had a pretty good weekend. He had the 9 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal and a block against his mate Gids in that loss to Chicago. He played 31 minutes. He also shot NBA Australia's magic number. That's right, 3-11. 2 of 2 at the line, 1 of 5 from downtown. But still, Josh Green causing all sorts of havoc out there for Charlotte. Dyson Daniels in the NBA Cup semi-final that the Hawks lost to Milwaukee. It's Algonquin for the good land. He still had 11 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, He had 3 turnovers, but he made Dame Lillard's life hell, didn't he? He really did. 5 of 10 shooting from the floor. 0 of 3 from downtown. 1 of 4 at the free throw line. He had a couple of bad misses, but that's all right. Be interesting to see how he's... now that the news of his brother signing in the next Stars is out, how he goes. He's out there going, hey, gotta make sure I'm the better Daniels. Johnny Furphy. Oh, Tins himself. Froths, they call him. The win over Philly for the Pacers. Big weekend for the Pacers, actually. They were on the weekend winners and losers in NBA Australia. 121-107. They win that game in 11 minutes. He had 2 shots that he took, both from 3. He hit one of them. He had 3 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, and 1 steal. And then in today's win against the New Orleans Pelicans, he went, 0 of 2 from 3? Brutal. But he had 1 rebound, 1 steal, 1 block, and 4 fouls in 12 minutes. That is some anti-Australian bias if ever I've heard it. That is brutal. Look after our man, Johnny Tins. 0 of 2 from the floor, though. Bit of a tough one. No Jingling Joe Ingles in the win over the Lakers for the Wolves the other day. The same thing went for our man, Paddy Mills, in their loss. What the entire setup that Paddy has got going, they lost to Phoenix. Just put him out there. You just need a boost. That's what Paddy Mills does. Paddy Mills is the human Energizer Bunny. He's going to get out there. He's going to cause all sorts of havoc and get you going. But unfortunately, he didn't. And obviously, no Jingles again today against the Spurs either. So still dealing with an injury, but he'll be right. Paddy, look, he's basically awesome at waving a towel and doing great things on the bench for that team at the moment. Duop Reef also copped a couple of did not plays, coaches' decisions in the last 2 Portland games over the weekend. Both losses. They lost to San Antonio 118-116. And then again today, they lost to... That was a tough one against the Suns. 116-109. That Portland team is going nowhere fast. It's breaking my heart. Who else do we have? We had Rock'em Sock'em Block'em Jock'em Landale, the Rooster. Copped another did not play coach's decision in that NBA Cup semifinal for the Rockets that they lost as well to the Oklahoma City Thunder. No Alex Dukas in that one either. He's dealing with a back injury. No Dante Exum, still out with his wrist injury too. He had surgery on that. So nothing on them over the weekend. Luke Travers, obviously not up with the Cavs at the moment either. And Jack McVeigh, not out there for the Rockets. So good weekend for the Aussies. That is the NBA Australian Player Watch from Monday, December 16. All right, let's do an NBA Australia great moment. Oh no, an Andrew Gay's Grey Mamba Award for Outstanding Achievement in the Field of Excellence.
Andrew Gay's Grey Mamba.
All right, quick ones today. We've got Giannis. He hasn't shot under 50% in a game this year. That's pretty good. He scored at least 20 points and 50% or better in 23 games he's played. So, yeah, not bad. I told you about the Greek Freak versus Jokic for the MVP. It's a great battle. And the other one, for a bit of excellence, we talked about like load management. Oh, geez, too many stars are load managing. Mikal Bridges played his 500th game the other day. He's the 6th player in NBA history in the first place since Terry Tyler to play in their first 500 games without ever missing a game. That is excellence. In a world of Kawhi Leonard's, be a Mikal Bridges. And just bloody play, would you? All right, Paddy Mills Game Day Baller Game Day Twitter check in. See what Paddy's been up to. Has he been out there causing havoc, Paddy Mills? No, but Creaky did actually show the world his daughter, Mia. That's very cool. Very nice. It's lovely stuff. All right, what about Paddy? Nothing from Paddy? No, nothing new. What about Jock? Let's see if there's anything from Jock. Here we go. Jock Landale. There he is. One new post. Oh, looking smart. In Vegas, that's right. He's got the beanie on, walking past the NBA Cup. It's very cool. Good on you, Jock. Nice. All right, let's do some game previews for tomorrow. Game previews. Thanks, inadvertent Bane. Not a problem, Jim. I'll tell you what. Desmond Bane is letting me down. I know. It's breaking my heart too. Anyway, we have a weird slate tomorrow where we have the NBA Cup final on Wednesday. So we'll have a very brief show again. Like the Tuesday shows are always a bit quicker anyway. So we've got, 6 games tomorrow before we get to the NBA Cup final in Vegas on Wednesday. And these ones tomorrow are a bit weird. So let's do it. Philly at Charlotte. So Philly reeling from all this injury news. Can they get past a Charlotte team that has got basically Brandon Spindles-Miller and not much else? I'm going to say no. I like Charlotte. They're underdogs in this one. I'm going to go Charlotte plus 2.5 because, yes, mate. They have been absolutely horrible the last little while, Charlotte, but Philly are just so banged up, so discombobulated. Losing Jared McCain, like their bench spark, it becomes a lot of Maxey, a lot of Paul George, which is probably fine. You'd think they'd have a bit of a chance against Charlotte, but Charlotte at home, getting a couple of points, kind of like the Hornets, just to pull off a bit of an upset. I think he'd go all pear-shaped very quickly for the Sixers. Detroit are 4.5-point underdogs at home against Miami, which, look, Detroit have had a little bit of an up and down sort of season, obviously, right? They're young, they're not very good. They got smashed by the Celtics, but they beat the Knicks last week. So I'm actually going to give them a bit of a crack against the Miami Heat here at home, considering they beat the Heat earlier this season at home, 123-121. So let's take the Detroit Basketball Pistons plus 4.5 against the Heat tomorrow. Chicago go to Toronto, and this is a weird one because the Raptors obviously losing Scotty Barnes completely throws a spanner in their works. They've now lost 4 on the trot. They lost by 10 against the Heat the other day. Came up close against the Knicks, close against the Mavs, smashed by the Thunder. The Bulls barely play defense. We know that. That's what they do. Neither of these teams are really that great defensively. Just saying. Just saying. So we might look at the over. But I kind of like Chicago. I'm not entirely sure why they're underdogs. Plus 1.5. They've got a couple of proven scorers. They've got Giddey. They've got Vooch. They can throw at Pirtle. Let's go the Bulls on the road in Toronto. Plus 1.5. Cleveland go to Brooklyn. They are only 10.5-point favorites. You know that Kenny Atkinson is going to want to put on a show. They are going to smash Brooklyn tomorrow. Give me the Cavs minus 10.5. It's a pretty big line. Brooklyn are feisty, but they're also bereft of that much talent at the moment. So having just shipped out Dennis Schroeder for no players, there's a lot of Ben Simmons, and I don't think that bodes very well for the Brooklyn Nets offense. So give me Cleveland minus 10.5. Then we have Sacramento taking on Denver, which is a weird matchup. And I feel like I've not ever really thought about that much before. So the Kings are a half-point favorites against the Nuggets. The Nuggets are playing some pretty... Like, the way they just dismantled the Clippers the other day was pretty cool. So I'm going to go the Nuggets here as a half-point underdog against the Kings, who are so hit and miss. You could call them a New Jersey drone. I tell you what are those drones doing? Someone explain it to me. And then finally, Clippers against Utah. The Jazz are just a shell of themselves. I'm going to go the Clippers minus 8.5. I mean, as mentioned, the Clippers had a bit of a rough one the other day, but I think they're still better than a Utah team that's 5-19, has lost 8 of their last 10. The Clippers are having a little bit of well, they've had these ups and downs as well themselves, right? They've lost 3 on the trot, and I feel like they get a nice bounce back. In that Nuggets game, so they played in Denver when they got smashed on the weekend, right? And you had basically Harden have a pretty quiet one, Norm have a quiet-ish one, Zoobs have a quiet one up against his mate, 13-13. I think they've got a little bit more in the tank. So let's go the Clippers against the Jazz. And then, if you want to look forward to Wednesday, OKC against Milwaukee, I kind of just trust OKC a little bit more. They were a little bit more impressive than the Bucks. So we'll break that down tomorrow and look at everybody's sort of relative standings when it comes to OKC and the Bucks in terms of their, the good matchups, their strengths, their weaknesses. We'll break that down a little bit more. But there you go. So tomorrow we're going to go Charlotte, Detroit, Chicago, Cleveland, Denver, and the Clippers. And that'll do it for today. Love that. We'll be back on deck tomorrow for a quick show, as mentioned. I guess programming notes. So, yeah, for next week, I'll do Monday and Tuesday, but obviously no show Christmas. There's no games. And so our Christmas Eve will be the last show for a bit. I think I might try to pop on and do a quick wrap of the Boxing Day games. But then I'm off. I'm off on holidays, and I'm actually going to take holidays this time. So, because remember the last time I was on holidays in Noosa and I ended up doing like 3 shows and my wife wanted to kill me? Yeah, old mate's just like, That's a stabbing. If I tried to do it again this time, just saying, it'd be not great for your mate Jim. We'll still do NFL Australia, but NBA Australia will just take a little bit of a break over the New Year period. Just a heads up, just so you know. We'll still be on socials and gear, so just shout out anytime you need to. Anyway, speaking of which, get around NBA Australia on Twitter, Facey, IG, TikTok, YouTube, all the good stuff. Jump in the comments, say g'day, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. Get around NFL Australia as well. Myself and Gaz are going to chaos NFL week this week. Going to be pretty fun to talk about with him tomorrow. Get around the Cricket Today podcast as well. They're all over the BBL season and the test matches, which is awesome. Up there in Brisbane. They're doing great. And obviously the Football Today podcast and AFL and AFLW Today shows and hold all tickets for your GGs. Get around all of them on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, whatever app you're using on your Android phone. Do subscribe, star, like, review, comments, all that good stuff. Come on. That'd be my Chrissy present. Come on. I don't ask for much. Big thanks always go to From Oslo for the intro and outro song. Go check out House Hats as well as Joshua Dillarenda's Fascinated, Gold Mines, Ramshackle Army, Iowa, Section I, Green, and Dozers there behind all the tunes you hear throughout the show. Smash them all on Bandcamp, Triple J and Earth, Facey, Apple Music, Spotify, however you listen to tunes. Listen to Australian bands. Go on, do it. That'll do us. I've got to get out of here. It's already pretty late. So we will catch you tomorrow, you dickheads. This is NBA Australia saying look after yourselves, would ya? And let a horse in now.